Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. There we go. We do have a discount going on for Black Friday. It's turkey. And we'll dive in here. We'll take a look and see what's going on in the markets, and I'll give you my financial opinions. So we're starting with the dollar, and the relative strength indicator is basically flat today. It was up 0.15%. I still think we are going to head lower in the short term, possibly back to this support level of this white line. That's a very strong support level, going all the way back across all of these different things. That's probably where we're going to end up, and it's down a few percent from where we are today. The 2-year yield on the short end of the curve down 0.57%. Again, I think we're going sideways to slightly lower if the Federal Reserve is going to hold interest rates where they're at. If they decide to lower it, I think we are going to go lower potentially in 2024. The 10 years flat. We could throw, it looks like we've got some sort of deal going on here where it is squeezing up. So we'll see where this thing breaks. It is a wedge that's declining to some degree. So the probability is we could break to the upside, but let's see what this thing squeezes to and where we break over the next few trading sessions. The 30 years also doing something very similar. We could throw something like this here. And then we've got a trend line coming down. So it looks like we're kind of squeezing here. And maybe I don't have the right one. Maybe it's here that we're kind of squeezing up into some sort of formation. So are we going to reverse here? Is this a falling wedge where we reverse to the upside? Don't know yet. It sure looks like it to me. But again, let's wait and see. TYX-TNX ratio slightly higher today. Could this mean that we go up in the TYX-TNX ratio where gold starts to rip it? I don't know. I mean, we've got rates that look like they've gotten falling wedges on the long end of the curve. And again, short term, this can go either direction. It really can. Bond prices also kind of just moving sideways, down 0.03%. So basically sideways right where we're at. And if we were to squeeze this out, this looks like we could go lower potentially and come back down. So higher yields, lower bond prices on the long end of the curve could be a likelihood, and we'll see if it breaks down or if we break higher. Gold's liking what it's seeing. It's a slight over $2,000 an ounce. Again, we're on top of everything, and I am inclined to think that we are going to go higher in gold futures over the short to medium term. Short to medium term. Maybe not the short term. We could come back down like this and bounce around for a while. Silver also up 0.91%. It is a bullish engulfing, but we do have wicks at the top that generally indicate some sellers are there. We've broken the inverted head and shoulders to the upside. We'll see if we can punch through the 25 per ounce level, which is a very strong resistance level. Platinum still working its way higher, looking pretty good. We've broken out of that trend line at least. And then we've got palladium that was just sideways, and I think that trend will continue higher. It's a little bloody nose is what I like to call it. We got XEU to gold ratio. That is also a little bit to the upside, 1% in favor of the gold and silver mining companies, but we are below a lot of resistance. Trend line here and a trend line coming down, and we haven't broken anything yet. CRB index up a teeny bit, and it looks like we are trying to do some trend line breakage soon. Maybe it's something on the line like this, potentially, or we're right at it. It's real close, somewhere in that range, but we're squeezing up in this corner here. And maybe we get a break to the upside for the CRB index. CRB versus S&P 500, we're up, but it's not convincing that this is going to be an ultimate bottom or not. We've got strong downside momentum, big selling pressure there, and we're just kind of leaking up. We could easily get hit to the downside here in the short term with this ratio. GDX up 2.5%. That's actually looking quite good up against resistance. And I'm just using GDX as our resistance indicator. There is a line that goes through these other ones too, right at the same location. I just didn't draw them in. There's GDXJ up a little bit, and also SILJ up against its resistance line going across that way. Crude oil flat. It is looking a little bit better. It's a bloody nose, so we'll see if this gets some buying pressure the next few trading sessions. Fingers crossed. We've got TTF gas heading a little bit lower. I know weather's been a little bit warm, and we've been producing a lot of natural gas in America. And I know the inventories are quite full over in Europe. But maybe we have a weaker 2024 net gas price. Nat gas for Henry Hub is coming back a little bit, and we are leaving our support zone to some degree. It's still hanging in there. We'll see if we get a bounce. We have strong support all through this entire area here that starts just underneath it. So we've got XOP. Yeah, you know me, down 0.89%. Still underneath that neckline. We're still waiting. And maybe we got to cycle back around. Maybe put a little like continuation pattern on this beast. Cup and handle, something like that. OIH down a little bit. We're still within the pattern, and we're in this flag pattern that we've created. So it looks good to break higher at some point, but we're in the consolidation at the moment. Profits Uranium Trust also moving sideways. Lots of companies moving sideways, digesting gains is what I would call it. URA down slightly, but we're still above support. Still looks good. Kind of like a retest going on. We've got URNM also coming back a little bit. Looking at the short term here, if I were to yank this to the closing prices, looks something like that. So kind of like a retest going on. URNJ is doing the same thing if I were to move this up there off the closing prices of daily action. But everything looks okay. It could be, we could move sideways for a little bit, maybe back down to this level there before a bounce higher. TAN down a little bit underneath a lot of resistance. There's that resistance line going across, and we're just underneath it, trying to break back above it. COPX up 0.5%. But again, we're right along that support resistance level. Lithium down a little bit, but again, I don't think this looks that bad. Still looks good to go higher. REMX in the same position, still looks good to go higher with time. So sideways to slightly higher would be my guess. We've got S&P 500, also just a slight down day, but it's not a reversal candlestick, still looks good to move on up. And the NASDAQ, same thing with that. No reversal candlestick yet, still looks good to continue higher if it wants to. KRE getting a little bit of selling pressure here. It's not a reversal candlestick. So we might get some sideways action before moving on up, but it still looks good for a medium term to move on higher. Emerging markets down a little bit. No reversal candlestick, still looks good to go higher with time. XHB still looking good. There's no reversal candlestick again, and we've got a big monthly possible closeout if we can close the month strong. Moo slightly lower, but still looks good. Looks more like a flag pattern that could continue higher. We've got copper, little bloody nose, and the bloody noses are continuation patterns to the upside. So I still think we have upside potential. We've got iron ore that's continuing to move higher. That looks fantastic. And I think we are going to go much, much higher in iron ore. Aluminum in between support and resistance. And it is up today, 0.5%, but we're underneath strong resistance. Baltic Dry Index, flat, down 0.16%. Still looks good to continue higher, but we are getting into that resistance support level. Newcastle Coal also up 1.5% or so, and that does look like we want to go higher. This is a bullish engulfing there. I think we're going up. That's what I think. And then Bitcoin. Bitcoin down a little bit. looks like we're squeezing. We got some sort of squeeze here going on, and we'll see which way that thing breaks. Ethereum looks good. That looks like a big flag pattern to go higher. So that still looks good to go higher for both of those, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So today, kind of a boring day, just kind of moving sideways, consolidating gains, slight selling pressure in some of these sectors. But for the most part, there's no reversal candlesticks. So everything looks, well, good, but boring. Thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website. Don't forget that we got that discount going on for Black Friday if you'd like to sign up. And we'll catch you guys later. This is Finding Value.